I just got back from an exhilarating ride in my 2019 ZR1, and it is just purring. You gotta listen to this thing idle. But first, this car is so awesome, I just had to make a review. I am not a car reviewer, I am not a dealer, but I owned this car for 5 years, so I know it inside and out. Okay, now listen to this car idle. After just coming back from a semi-aggressive ride, it's actually saying, don't put me away, let's go again. I have to tell you, this car is magic. It instantly turns me into a teenager every time I drive it. I've owned 5 Corvettes, and I'm used to driving muscle cars, especially going back to my 1966 C2 big block. But there is nothing that compares to driving this 2019 ZR1 manual transmission. Come on, 755 horsepower, 715 pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds anytime you want it. It's crazy. Yes, the automatic is a bit faster, but for the ultimate driving engagement, the fun of shifting the car, incredible horsepower and torque output is indescribable. If you drove one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, it has to go on your bucket list. This car loves to live above 3,000 RPM. The only time it should be under is if you have to stop. And to quote Ken Miles, it's a sports car and it wants to be driven. Drive it like one. I mean, you get up to highway speed, you drop down the gear and throttle hard, and this car launches. I mean, it's gone. It's so exhilarating, takes your breath away. I dare you to drive this car and not have a smile on your face. It's actually impossible. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into the review. Here is a review of the 2019 Corvette ZR1 from our owner's perspective. We'll go over the functionality, interior controls, performance. I'll also share the window sticker. This car is 100% stock, apart from the Expel and ceramic coating and tinted windows. This car has the Performance ZTK package with competition seats along with the cushy 3ZR interior. This ZR1 has a manual transmission. There were 2,900 ZR1s made for 2019, but only 800 were manuals. Those numbers are approximate, but they're close. Let's start with a quick walk around. First thing to note is the exterior carbon fiber. It's everywhere. Chevy used it extensively on the ZR1 with the ZTK package to improve performance and reduce weight. The exterior of the car is practically all carbon fiber. It includes the front splitter, the supercharger cover, the vent in front of the supercharger cover, the 6 side vents on both front fenders and rear quarter panels, the side sill running boards, and of course the obnoxiously fantastic ZTK giant wing. They didn't stop there. The entire hood, front fenders, rear quarter panel, toggle roof, hatch trunk lid are all carbon fiber. They also put underbody aero panels mounted beneath the car to smooth the flow under the chassis to enhance aerodynamic efficiency, downforce, and cooling. That's a ridiculous amount of carbon fiber. Actually, it would have took less time to say that the doors, front and rear bumper, are the only things that aren't carbon fiber. Here's a close look at the front splitter. As you can see, it's a high gloss carbon fiber and it protrudes out quite a bit. Fortunately, there's a front camera view which lets you know exactly where your splitter is in relation to anything that's in front of you. Let's talk about airflow. Here is the ground view of the massive ZR1 grille. It looks like a giant vacuum cleaner sucking up all the air possible. This is the most open front Corvette ever. The largest ever splitter, funneling a tremendous amount of air into the grille. Processes 40% more air than the mighty Z06. You see that it's split up into thirds. The 2 outer sections are a massive 19 inches wide by 9 inches tall. I mean, they're sucking up every bit of air. This car has 13 heat exchangers / radiators. There's 3 to cool the engine, 4 to cool the supercharger, then the individual heat exchangers for the transmission fluid, rear differential, engine oil cooler, power steering, and AC condenser. Looking at the grille, you can see 3 radiators, 1 in each section. If you look at the center section of the grille, you'll see the 2 cameras. One's a data recorder, which is very cool, and I'll show it when we do the interior controls. The other is for the front park assist. It's great because when you're going below 5 miles an hour and inching towards something, you can see exactly where the splitter ends. As you look at the front, air is designed to not only roll over the car, but to float through it. All of the venting is functional, as you could see by the massive grille and the multiple vents. Let's go over the side vents. This front fender vent pulls the heat from the engine, power steering, front brakes. This lower quarter panel intake cools off the brakes and the rotors, and the heat vents out through the back bumper. Now let's go to the wide upper quarter panel vent. It is for cooling the transmission and rear axle, or the transaxle. All the heat from both quarter panel vents funnel out these two rear vents on either side of the car. Another component to the aero is the side sill. It is a gloss carbon fiber. It ties into the front fender and the back quarter panel beautifully. It's unobstructive and has this little indent here so that you avoid kicking it. Okay, let's move on to the paint. This car is the shadow gray metallic with a jet black interior. The metal flake really pops in the sun. Here's a good side view of the Supercharger cover, along with the ZR1 badge. I'll get down a little lower so you could see how obnoxiously tall the hood is. I would say it's about 4 inches tall. It's obnoxious and fantastic at the same time. Wait till you see it from the inside of the car. Here is the ZR1, the Zora Racing 1 emblem, showing the Blue Devil color. The blue outline around the emblem is carryover from the secret code Blue Devil, which came from the C6 ZR1 while it was under development as a secret project. Some say it stands for Zora Racer 1, others say it just means absolute top dog. Here's a look at the carbon fiber Targa roof. The light gray, dark gray pattern really works with this gray car, and it can be stored easily in the back cargo area. The rims and tires fit this car so well. The front rubber are P285's 30 ZR19. So they're 19-inch rims, 11.5-inch wide rubber. 30 series means it's 30% of tire width sidewalls. The front gets 15.5-inch carbon ceramic rotors. The carbon ceramic construction not only reduces weight, but dramatically reduces the heat generated during braking. The 13-inch long Brembo calipers contain 6 pistons, and they stop hard and quick. I never experienced anything like them when it comes to stopping. When you hit the brakes, even semi-hard, this thing digs. It just shovels into the ground, and it stops on a dime. There's no pull to the right, pull to the left. It just goes straight down. It's quite amazing. The back wheels get the 335 25 ZR20. So the steamroller 13.5-inch wide tire gets a sidewall that's 25% of the tire width. The back rotors are the same in the front, but the calipers only get 4 pistons. The wheels are made of cast aluminum, and then they are carbon flashed. Oh, here's a close-up view of the carbon flash on the rim. I'll finish with the wheels by saying the 20-inch rims in the rear, 19s in the front, gives it a nice posture and angles it sort of like the muscle cars of the 60s and 70s. I have not tracked this particular car. I was able to sneak on a highway that was newly opened and get it up to 130 miles an hour, and was able to experience a nice turn. And my God, this thing holds the road. I mean, there is absolutely no roll. When I hit a left turn at 130 miles an hour, I was expecting my body to shift to the right, but nothing. I just stayed nestled in the competition seat. The steering, driver, seat, car, road connection was amazing. When I hit 130, my heart was racing, adrenaline was flowing, the car was roaring, but it was so solid and connected to the highway, I can only imagine taking it on the track and taking this thing to 212 after experiencing how this car drove at 130 miles an hour. As I slowed down and got off the highway, I had this grin on my face, and it stayed there all day long. Okay, enough of that. Let's get back to the car review. Okay, let's look under the hood. There it is, the clamshell opening. Oh, you'll see the detail in the Supercharger carbon fiber and the detail in the satin finished carbon fiber hood. There's the vent for the radiator. Comes out before the Supercharger. As we move around to the front, you see how cool that opening looks. The shaker Supercharger cover coming right up into it. This car is powered by the legendary 6.2 LT5 V8. With the 755 horsepower and the 715 pounds of torque, it's an absolute beast. and the most powerful engine ever put in a production Corvette up to this point. The block and heads are all aluminum. Fuel's delivered both by direct injection and port injection, with a compression ratio of 10:1. It has 16 overhead valves. It lines at 6,500 RPMs, but like I said, for street driving it loves to live between 3,000 and 5,000 RPM. The only Corvette that'll beat it in horsepower is the newly released 2025 ZR1. When closing the hood, there's a trick to keeping the fingerprints off the hood. You grab it by the latch here, and you just swing it down and it snaps into place. Nice and easy. Now let's take a look at the trunk cargo area. Okay, 2 snaps on the remote, pops it open. By the way, the trunk has a soft close feature. As you can see, it's just wide open. There are 4 tie-down buckles. Cargo area is much bigger than you would expect. It easily stores the roof without taking up a lot of space. If you look at what looks like the back wheel wells, the roof just slides on top of those 2 wheel wells and then clicks into place, and you still have plenty of storage under and behind the roof. There's a small storage compartment right there. It's just I just keep the lug locks in there. It'll keep any small items from bouncing around. There is also a cargo net that will secure larger items. And then I have this screen here to block the sun. The car comes with a trickle charger. So if I'm not going to be using it for an extended period of time, what I would do is plug that in and it will slowly charge so that the battery remains fresh. Okay, let's go over the rear of the car, and we'll follow that with a cold start. I love the look of the back. It has the ZR1 emblem outlined in blue. There's the iconic checkered flag emblem going back to '54. You can see the heat exhaust vents, 2 on either side of the car. There's the white taillights reserved for the Z06 and ZR1 only. We look at the massive trumpet exhaust outlets, which actually shoot out blue flames at high RPMs. Okay, the last thing before the startup is the massive adjustable wing. It's high gloss, all carbon fiber. It's so obnoxious, it's actually amazing. It sits on 9-inch posts which tie directly into the chassis to produce 950 pounds of downforce combined with front splitter and side sills. The width on this is 10.5 inches. While we're on the wing, the ZTK package contains the adjustable high rear wing, the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 sticky tires, track-tuned magnetic ride control along with the front splitter, and carbon end caps, which I don't put on because they look like an aftermarket product, and beefed up spring rating. Okay, let's start it up in sport mode, then I'll drop it down to touring, which is like a stealth mode, and then back to sport mode so you can hear the difference. You thought of both the sound idling and then the cold start. Please post in the comments what you thought of the sound, both for the idling from the beginning of the video and this cold start. Besides the touring and sport mode, there's also a track mode. But on idle, you can't hear the difference between the sport and the track. Even regular street driving, you can't hear the difference. They say when you get onto the track and you really open it up, it gets throatier and you get more of a raw sound. So for my style of street driving, it's always in sport mode. Occasionally I'll put it in touring if I'm pulling out of my driveway early in the morning. Other than that, it's in sport all the time. When you go into track mode, many other things happen besides the sound of the exhaust. Magnetic ride stiffens, throttle response increases, steering gets heavier. There are additional settings that change that I don't want to change. For example, if you want to do a little drifting, the car in sport will intervene if you slip at too severe of an angle. But if you put it in track mode, it won't. So in track mode, the car can get out of control. Okay, let's get into the interior. First of all, you notice an electronic open lock, and there you see the inside of the door. This car has the cushy 3ZR interior. It was a $10,000 option, which I'll show you on the window sticker in a bit. That option provided premium interior materials, which included Napa leather seating, leather-wrapped dashboard, instrumentation and door panels, steering wheel and console. You also get the suede microfiber visors, roof panel, and pillars, and plenty of carbon fiber. On the tech side, you get the Bose 10-speaker audio system, the performance data recorder, curb view cameras, and the heads-up display. Here's a look at the fine finer stitching and leather, electronic door lock, and the seat memory settings. You see the stitching again here and here. And here is your power windows, more stitching, electronic door release, so the door just pops open, and a little bit of storage. As we go to enter the car, you'll see the indent in the sill that's perfectly positioned so that your foot misses it when you exit. The competition seat also upgrades you to a 16-way power seat, which controls the bolstering as well. Speaking of bolstering, this is really hugs you nicely. Comes out about 5 inches. They had the Corvette logo. Opened this area up and filled it with carbon fiber, which was a nice touch. White stitching throughout the seat, and the leather is upgraded so it's firm but comfy. A nice upgrade from the plain standard ZR1 seats. The look of the interior is simple, and I like it. You got bucket seats, steering wheel, you got a stick shift, and everything else just kind of blends away. Simple is better. Another throwback to the muscle car era. Let me know in the comments if you like this simple layout, or do you prefer the C8 with the wall of buttons. Here's a view of the front dashboard steering wheel from the driver's seat. You see it's nice and simple, everything's handy. It's just a beautiful setup. Okay, on the visor, here is your home leak garage door opener, and you got a mirror on the visor. Here's how you take the roof off. There's 1, 2, and the third latch is in the back in the center. Roof pops right off and goes into the trunk. Visors, windshield pillars, and roof. Everything is microfiber, very soft and cushy. When closing the door, the best thing to do to keep fingerprints down is just grab the hook and flip it closed. Quick peek from the passenger side. All the materials are the same quality. Classic look, simple, and fantastic. There are 2 things I have to show you in the windshield. Number 1, this is what the heads-up display looks like. Well, of course, it doesn't flicker when you're really watching it, and it's really crystal clear. But you can move it up and down, changes as you turn the mode selector, and you can brighten it. It does a good job keeping your eyes on the road instead of the dashboard. Look at this hood scoop. Well, actually, it's the back of the Supercharger cover, but it sticks up about 4 inches. It's right in your face, and it's just screaming muscle car from the 60s. As far as I'm concerned, this is the star of the show, the 7-speed manual. Some ZR1 owners changed the linkage. I can't see why. This thing shifts so smoothly and so accurately. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments whether you prefer a stick or automatic, and why. Here's a look at the rest of the console. This is a lighter connection for radar detector. There you go, your cup holders, electronic brake, your mode selector, stealth, tour, sport, and track. This is your launch control. Has a small console area with your USB and small storage. Console padded with leather. Here is a look at the infotainment screen and all the controls beneath. Here's the hidden compartment. I'm sure you've seen that. There's a USB connected there, a light. Pop the screen up and it automatically lights up again. I like that all the knobs have a nice rubber coating and really feel nice in the hand. Here is your volume control and your on-off switch. Here is your temperature control for the driver's side. You can see it also sync to the passenger side. That is your home button where you can access your data recorder, CarPlay settings. There's your heated seat, different levels, cooling seats, passenger side, the same thing. Here's a look at the instrument cluster. You can change the middle screen, which I'll show you in a minute, but now I'm toggling through all the options. And here is a real cool one. It's the 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 performance timer. So you set it, take off, and it'll clock you. You can change the look of the display, toggling back and forth, and track to sport. Here's the track display, and there's sport display. The entire display screen options are controlled by this switch on the steering wheel. It toggles up and down, right and left, and select. Here are the controls for the mirror, self-explanatory. And then the heads-up display, you can move it up, down, you can change the configuration, you can brighten it. That's right there. And then you also, here's a gauge brightener for the dashboard. So all your displays will get brighter with that. Here you have your cruise control, works really well. Here's a look at the steering wheel. We have carbon fiber on the bottom and the top. Here is the station changes and volume control. Carbon fiber on the top looks great. Leather on the side, both sides of the wheel. On this side, you have the talk to car, hang up the call, and that's your select button to customize your display. The handles behind the steering wheel. On the right side, you got your windshield wiper controller, and on the left side, we have your light controls with the automatic high beams. Here is the drive mode button. You turn it, it changes on your your dashboard and also changes the gauges. So you'll see it here. I'll flip it again. It'll go from sport to track. There you go. Now notice that when I changed it to track, the heads-up display also changed with it. See, I'll change it back to sport. There you go. Okay, let's look at the top of the dashboard. The stitching is really done well. Leather is actually much higher quality than you would expect from Chevrolet. I mean, really attention to detail. There's more carbon fiber here around the whole screen. Here is how the front camera assist aids in saving your front splitter. What you do is you put your car in reverse, and as you I'm backing into my garage now, and by the guidelines I could see, so I go as far back, watching the sides, get to where I want to stop, then put it in forward. When I do that, the front camera kicks in, and I can see exactly where my gray floor garage ends and my paver driveway begins. And then I pull up, I inch up, I get right to the red, stop right there, and that lets me know that I have 3 inches from the garage door to my front splitter. There's 3 inches of clearance. So that really is a cool feature. Not only does that save the splitter, but it gives you the maximum amount of free space behind the car. Here's a really cool feature. It's the data recorder. The disc goes in the glove compartment. This is what it looks like when you have a recording. There's 2 ways to use it. One is for the valet, which my car was being serviced here, and you could see I can watch what they did with the car while I wasn't around. Here's another example of when you're driving and you want to record what you're doing for 0 to 60 starts or any performance. You just start the recorder and it shows you all this data so you can fine tune and adjust your performance. Here is the left side of the window sticker showing you all the standard equipment and the pricing. Go ahead and pause it if you need to read any of the detail. I'll move on to the second half of the window sticker showing the options and the final price. As you can see here, the big ticket item was the 3ZR Premium Equipment Group for $10,000, and the track performance package was $3,000. So what's so special about the C7 ZR1? Well, it's the most powerful Corvette ever made to date, pending the release of the 2025 ZR1. It is and will remain the most powerful front-engine Corvette ever made. Right now, when it comes to power, the C7 ZR1 is the king of all Corvettes. Period. Just look at it. The car is sexy. It has the curves, the bulging hood, an attractive aero package encompassing wing, splitter, and venting. It's the biggest, baddest, ultimate Corvette ever. I have to say, I was hot for a C8 design before I bought this car, but once Chevy made clear that they would not offer a manual transmission due to the mid-engine design, I went out and grabbed one of the last ZR1 manuals. In my view, if you're going to have a car like this, you gotta shift it. Here's a poll question for your comments. What is your favorite generation for the ZR1 and why? C3, C4, 6, or C7, or the upcoming C8? Too bad the front engine Corvettes aren't going to be made anymore. I mean, the C8s are cool, but there's something about this big nose front motor that's just going to be missed. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to your comments.